Ricky Williams.
Okay, so this time, I've been up giving speeches, accepting awards for a long time, and it started back at the University of Texas. And one person that I forgot every single time, I'm actually going to talk about first. So John Bianco, thank you. All right. So John is the sports information director at Texas, and we hit it off right away when I got to school. And I wouldn't be up here if it wasn't for John. He was my translator to the media. And so, thank you. I don't know how many times he had to call the writers back and say, you know what he meant to say was. So thank you. And I have to thank my mother, Sandy, thank you. So one of the things that my mother and the University of Texas have in common is they require greatness. So as a kid, it didn't matter what I was doing, whether it was my schoolwork, whether it was sports, whether it was sweeping the floor or taking out the garbage, Sandy required greatness. So thank you. And so it's such an honor for me to be up here and to be inducted into the Texas Sports Hall of Fame. It's one of the reasons I decided to come to Texas. So on my recruiting trip, I was being brought around, shown the school, and there was a room up in the stadium called the Tea Room. And it's also where we had rookie study hall. And in this room, there were probably hundreds of pictures of All-Americans all the way back from the early 1900s to current. And even the current ones, some of them were in black and white, so it added to the tradition of it. And whether I was studying for class or daydreaming about future success, I received so much from that room and so much from all the greats from the university, like Earl Campbell, like Gus, like Jody. And walking around campus, you see greatness on the walls, you see greatness in the statues, you see greatness in the people that walk by you. And for me, like my mom taught me, that's what I was destined to have, that's what I was destined to be. And during the recruiting process, and I talk to a lot of young kids about this, I say, think about what you'd like to have, think about what you'd like your life to be like. And growing up in San Diego as a kid, I would watch college football. And I didn't necessarily want to be a professional football player, but there was something about college football that called to me. And on my recruiting trip, I had certain things that I wanted to accomplish, things that I wanted to do, things I wanted to be in college. And I wanted to start as a freshman. I wanted to go to a big school that had a rich tradition and was right on the verge of making that next step to greatness. And so when I came to Austin, my recruiting trip, now keep in mind I'm from San Diego, so I'd never been to Texas before. So I expected I would land at the airport and I would see tumbleweed rolling across the tarmac. So I got off the plane, it was December 17th, 1994, it was 72 degrees. I was like, okay, I can do this. I get to campus and I'm walking to have lunch and I see 4 humongous human beings walking towards me. And my host says, those are gonna be your linemen when you get here. So I was like, okay, that works. And just the energy, right? So you gotta love Austin, Texas, and you gotta love the University of Texas. The energy there, like I said, it inspires greatness. And I feel like really, I received so much more from the university that I was able to give. And I'm so thankful for my time there. And and I say, it's gonna be very difficult to match the amount of fun, the amount of support, the amount of love I felt at the University of Texas. And one of my favorite things about playing at Texas were my teammates. And I was sitting down here and I looked up and I saw a couple of them over there. So I definitely want to, 3 of my favorite teammates actually. So of course my fullback, Ricky Brown, who blocked for me. And we ran the ball so much, Kwame and Wayne, my receivers blocked just as much as my fullback did, so I want to thank you guys. My running back coach, Bruce. Arthur, how you doing? And of course, the infamous Mad Dog. Yeah. That's another thing, inspiring greatness. So when Coach Brown came, my senior year, and before him, we had a guy by the name of John Makovic. And John Makovic recruited me, and he really helped me develop as a football player. So when there were talks of him getting fired after my junior year, I pretty much said, if we fire him, I'm leaving. And so Coach Brown came in the first day, and I didn't like the guy already. So he came up to the front of the room, and he starts talking, and I was sitting back there with my arms crossed, like, okay, all right. And then the next step was he told me I had to cut my hair, otherwise I couldn't stay on the team. So things weren't going so well in that relationship, and so I went into his office, and we had a heart-to-heart, okay? And one of the things that came out of that heart-to-heart was he actually asked me what I thought about the team. And for me to have a coach ask for my input like that, and I talked to him about some of the things that I thought about the team, you know, where we could make improvements, where we were solid, where we were good, and suggestions. And what kind of turned the tide and allowed me to stay at Texas was the very next day I started to see him implement the things that I had talked to him about. And so I saw that he was trusting me to be a leader on the team. And for me, that touched me in a way that, you know, I don't think I can ever thank Coach Brown for what that was and what that meant to me. This is awesome. So everyone's talking about their family, so I can't leave them out. And I'm glad that my kids are here. You know, now they'll understand why all the kids at school are asking for my autograph. I think they're still trying to figure out what I do or what I did, even though they were at all my games, but yeah. So thank you guys for being here, and my beautiful wife, Kristen. I want to thank you all for your support and everyone for being here. This is such a great honor, and I want to again thanks the Texas Sports Hall of Fame for this. All right, and have a good night. Thank you.